This is the briefing for Friday, March 28th. In the briefings during the week, this past week, I talked about probability assessments, and I think it's important to understand probability assessments. When we analyze the markets, we analyze the probabilities. We analyze the possibility of one event occurring over another. Is the market going up? Is it going down? Or is it just in a pause phase? And then we can make strategic and tactical decisions based on that, and evaluating the reward to risk scenarios that would pose in each one. Now, during the week, I talked about it, and really what I was convincing myself of the same thing, is that I talked about the rotation that we've seen off of this low. This is the spiders on a daily basis at 550. I've talked about this rotation. And during the week, I talked about the characteristics of a counter trend rotation or counter trend move. Now, certainly, this is an impulsive move to the downside. We broke very important support levels and have reached another support level of 550, which was the low from, I think this was, March 13th. Then we rallied off of that low, had a second move to the downside, a gap up, and then a test of the 580 area. Now, one of the characteristics is that it happens in a three-step move where there's three legs, and a lot of times, not all of the time, but a lot of times there's equality between legs 3 and legs 1, where they're equal to each other. And I did the calculations and showed clients that equality came in the spiders at the 580 area. This high came in at 576, so it missed it by four points. Now, in the Qs, the same thing occurred here. You can see three-step counter trend rotation. This came in at 492, and the Qs came in right at the 493.77 area. So that was certainly fulfilled. The next thing that we talked about was I talked about the fact that that this leg 2, the bottom of leg 2, becomes a very important support level in terms of a down move, or in terms of a move off of this high here and moving down. And that the probabilities are such that if this low is broken, the probabilities increase that this low is going to get tested. If that low is tested, the probabilities increase that it's going to get broken, and you have to look for the next level of support, which in the spiders happens to come in right around the 540 area. So in today's trading, we traded through this I think that's the 557, 558 area, closed at 555. So that suggests that this counter trend move to this move lower, which this is a counter trend move on a much greater degree time frame. In fact, let me point that out. So this is a weekly chart of the spiders. So you can see this is an uptrend, and we have a series of higher highs and higher lows. And then we have this pause, then we have this sell-off, but we broke this low. So that suggests then that this move is counter trend, but in a much even greater degree time frame, and that this move here was counter trend to this move. So I don't want to confuse the matter, but understanding time frames and the price development in multiple time frames is certainly important, because a down move in one time frame could be significant in that this up move in relation to this down move is certainly counter trend, at least at this point in time. Now that can change, and what can change it is a news event which changes the perception of value on the part of traders and investors. And we have to always be aware of a potential news event that can change the analysis that we've done. Now, important to this also was the fact that you see this move and you see what was happening with volume. Volume was absolutely falling off, and even in yesterday's trading was really at a significant low, even though we made a slight high over the previous day's high. I'm sorry, that's not yesterday's trading. That was the 25th, so about 3 days ago. So that was a pretty clear suggestion. Now the question then was, were we going to test 580, or was this done? And as you can see from Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays trading, it was done, and potentially now closing below this 577 area is going to suggest that this low at 550 is going to get tested, and potentially we're going to take it out and potentially test the 540 area. Now, one of the things as I was sitting here during the week analyzing this counter trend move for my own trading and investing is that I really was wondering whether this was a bottom and we were going to see a rotation back up to test the 610 area, and I really wanted to buy this low. But I finally sat here and I thought, you know, it is not within the probability assessments that I've made to buy that low. And you can see, while it was a fairly decent move, the main trend can re-exert itself at any time, and then you can see an impulsive move, as you can see this right through here, especially in today's trading. Now, the question I have, and I've faced myself even today as I was studying the markets, was that is this a news-driven event? In other words, there's a lot of talk about tariffs. There's a lot of talk about the PCE that came out in today's trading. So is there something that is going on news event wise that I need to be aware of? Now, there is going to be an announcement on April 2nd on tariffs. And as I was analyzing this, and I just want to kind of throw this out there for consideration, you know, the old adage for traders is buy the rumor and sell the news. But if you think about that, that's an adage for an up market. And if you think about it in reverse, in a down market, you know, it would be sell the rumor, buy the news. And certainly it's going to be very interesting, and I'm going to kind of keep that in the back of my head going into the April 2nd trading day, is that wherever we are in terms of price development, that I will potentially want to cover shorts and watch for some sign in the market that there's going to be a reversal, and we're going to buy the news, which suggests then that the market's going to recover and recover fairly significantly. But that is yet to be seen, and I'm getting ahead of myself. But anyway, right now, the next level of resistance in the spiders is the 557 area. This needs to hold. If that doesn't hold, then what could be happening is that we could be developing into a more complex counter trend rotation, where this is a three-step move. But that becomes leg one. This is leg two, and leg three is yet to come, that could test this 580 or even something higher, maybe even the 590 area. And if that occurs, we have to do the math on that just to figure that out. Support, very important support, 550. I think if we break the 550 level, I think we could see an acceleration even down to the 540 level and below that. And to look at those, I'll have to get a look at a longer term chart, or merge this chart to find out the next level of support that'll be important support. Volume increasing in today's trading. That was very important. 52-week highs minus 52-week lows declined some more. Breadth is certainly supporting this move to the downside. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen more volume come in, but in a trend, as a trend begins to develop, and if this is the beginning of another trend such as this, then it would suggest potentially, or you want to see volume coming in, increasing each day as it continues to draw more sellers. Volume spiking all in one day would suggest that it's potentially an exhaustion move. And the other thing to think about here, thinking a little bit longer term, is I showed the weekly chart, and you can see this pause that we've had here. We've broken that. So the question I have and for consideration is this a leg one in a counter trend rotation to the rally that we've seen? This is a leg two, and leg three is in the process of developing right now, which would relate to a weekly chart where this is 1, 2, and then 3 is yet to come, potentially testing this 507, 500 to 507 area, and that's yet to be seen. Now, what's important here is that in making our probability assessments, we have to try and think of all of the possibilities for the market and what information is the market giving us as to the next greater degree time and price move. and in terms of short-term moves. So we have to analyze that, but keep in mind that different scenarios can play out, and as the story comes out of the market and it becomes reality, then we can realize and we can trade and plan based on the information the market has given us and what we know from our experience and knowledge in technical analysis. So for right now, it appears this is a counter trend rotation, that it is potentially complete. There's a smaller probability that this could be the end of the leg 2, and leg 1, 2, and then 3 is yet to come. But I have to keep in mind that that is still a possibility. The higher probability is, since we've broken this and closed below it, we're going to test 550, and we're going to potentially break that at the same time. In the Qs, we're looking at 492 as being upside resistance. And the initial resistance is going to come in at the 472, 471 area. And then, of course, initial support comes in right at the low of 466 from the 13th. If that's broken, the next level of support comes in at 450 in the Qs. In the IWM representing the Russell, you can see a 3-step move. It projected leg 3 up to 215. It didn't make it there. The Russell was signaling certainly that there was more weakness in the market than the other two indices were projecting based on the rally off of the March 13th low. It broke its second leg here at 202. Closing at the 200 area. Next level of support comes in right around the 197 area, which is this low from the 13th. Volume increasing in today's trading, breadth falling off pretty significantly. I have to say that breadth was certainly supportive of the move in today's trading. So looking at where we are in terms of overbought and oversold, we are oversold in the NYSE and extremely oversold in the NASDAQ. So while it's not 100% probability that we're going to see some type of pause or counter trend rotation, it certainly is a possibility that this is telling us that we're extremely oversold and need to work off some of that oversold condition. Now, the key to that then is you're going to have to watch what happens if there is a counter trend move. Watch what happens on a lower low. Let me get the hourly charts up here. On a lower low below today's low and breadth strengthening, that would then suggest the potential for a possible test of 550, a divergence in breadth, and then some type of rotation back up to work off the oversold condition before we see potentially another leg to the downside. In terms of the rest of the internals, this is the chart of the stocks trading above their 50-day moving average, stocks trading above their 200-day moving average, and you can see it's pretty significant. Only 33% of the S&P 500 trading above their 50-day moving average, and 39% above the 200-day moving average. In the Qs, or in the NASDAQ, I should say, 24% trading above their 50-day moving average, 31% trading above their 200-day moving average. That's a pretty significant event in terms of the weakness within the indices themselves. And in the Russell, 18% trading above their 50-day moving average, and 26% trading above their 200-day moving average. Looks like I've got some bad ticks in here that'll have to come out. So anyway, for Monday, I'm still leaning towards the short side of this market. I certainly would like to see a test of this 550 area in the spiders. And if that's broken, then we're looking at 540. But I'm going to be very aware on Monday of the potential for some type of rotation back up if there's a divergence in breadth, because breadth was fairly negative today. Now, as we approach Tuesday and Tuesday evening, and into Wednesday, that news event on the tariffs is potentially going to be a market mover. So I would be very cautious with any position to the short side. I would be tightening up stops, and I would be looking potentially for some type of rally if the news is much better on tariffs than the market has anticipated up to this point in time. On the contrary, if it's not, then we're going to see an acceleration of trading to the downside. Have a great weekend, and I'll pick this back up for subscribers on Monday.